Good morning, good morning, good morning. Come on in to this safe and sacred space. It is Friday, and we have made it to the end of another week. I don't know about y'all, but it has definitely felt like a very long week for me, just emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially. We're at the halfway point of the month, and it just, there's been challenges. And I first have to just acknowledge that things are difficult for everybody. This is a very challenging time of year, difficult for a lot of people. I mean, the economy is what it is, and things cost more. I've just heard so many stories this week from my clients. I'm very transparent. I work with seniors, and hearing them talk about the struggles of having to decide between medications and I'm gonna move my camera just a little bit closer. Between medications and rent and bills. I mean, those things it's taking a toll on them, obviously, but it's definitely taking a toll on me as the coach that's listening and trying to find supportive ways to help them meet their need, but also walking through and having that compassion. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. Was we're sticking with the movement May, but how do we move forward when we're fatigued? Because that is part of the process. I think a lot of times when we talk about movement, and I've talked about this all week about the going at your own pace and honoring your rest. But sometimes we get fatigued and we long for what's on the other side. Has anybody ever done that? You get halfway through your journey and you're like, well, I was more comfortable on the other side. I didn't have to worry about all these things that are going on with me. It was easier in Egypt. It was easier when I didn't have these responsibilities and I was trying to be more intentful. It was easy to be lazy. It was easy to not worry about these things. And that's the delusion. When we start moving forward, we begin to long for more. Good morning, Miss Gay, and good morning, Renee. I've been thinking about you all week, Renee. So just want to let you, good morning. But we long for what is in the past. We long for, it was easier on that end. But one of the things we have to do is move forward through fatigue with compassion. So good morning, good morning, good morning. And I want to invite you in for my Chilling Spot chats. I'm so glad you're here with me. You could be anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with me. It could be sleep, so I value you. So let's go ahead, say good morning like everybody else is doing when you first come in. Let me know you're here with me, and let me know how you're feeling today. Just put a thumbs up if you're feeling tired, or a heart or something, or just share with me how you're feeling. Share with us all so we can support you in that way too. Because like I said, it's been a week, y'all. A heavy one, a full one, a tender one. And if you're like me, you may be walking around with a little bit of emotional fatigue in your body, in your spirit, and in your mind. So today we're talking about how to keep moving, because this is Movement May. How do we keep moving gently, compassionately, even when life feels heavy? Not pushing it, not forcing it, not pretending everything is okay, just moving with honesty and with care. Because one of the things that, particularly for women, particularly for Black women, because I'm a Black woman, I can only speak to their experience, we say, I'm fine a lot. How's everything? I'm fine. But on the inside, we are dying. On the inside, we are fatigued, we are tired, we don't know if we're coming, if we're going, we're carrying so much, but the initial response is always to go, I'm fine. What happens when we say, I'm not fine? Sometimes we don't say it because we think, well, others will feel and I'll be weak or whatever. But sometimes owning that is the first step to saying, look, I'm fatigued. But being fatigued is not a failure. Fatigue is information. Let me say that again. Fatigue is not failure. Fatigue is information. It's your body saying, hey, something has been heavy. Something has been a lot. Something needs attention. And I want to normalize this for many of us today, especially, again, for us women, especially for the caregivers, the leaders, the helpers, the healers. We carry so much that we don't even realize how tired we are until we stop. Good morning, Anita. Y'all jump in and say good morning to each other. Good morning, Anita. We love you. So we don't even realize how tired we are until we have to stop. Sometimes we stop because we realize we're tired, and sometimes our body collapses because it is carrying so much fatigue. Anybody know what I'm talking about? That nap that you said you was going to take for 20 minutes, you woke up 3.5, 4 hours later. Yeah. And again, I just want to normalize it for us because given in today's society, we've created this mantra that if somehow or another you need rest, you're lazy. Or if you're tired, you don't have enough energy. When really it's our fatigue is not a failure, it's information. And we have to learn how to listen to that. Because this week I've been holding space for my clients who are grieving, clients who are overwhelmed, clients who are stretched thin. And I've also been holding space for myself too, because this life has been lifing. Life has been lifing. Anyone know what I'm talking about? That it just seems to be one thing after another. And it often feels like that's when I'm moving, when I've made this decision, when I've made this commitment that I'm going to move forward, that I'm going to be move with intention. Here comes all these things. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Send me a thumbs up if you know what I'm talking about. It's like you're moving through life, and as soon as you think, okay, here comes out, life be lifing. And so if you are tired today, I want you to hear me. You're not weak. You're human. There's 100 billion people in the world. Come join us. You're not weak because you get tired. You're not weak because you need rest. You're not weak in the process of this, of movement of May, when you're feeling fatigued. You are human, and your fatigue is a sign that you've been showing up. So one of the biggest lessons for Movement May is this. Movement is not always loud. Movement is not always fast. Movement is not always visible. Sometimes it looks like taking a breath, sitting down, saying, not today, letting yourself cry, letting yourself rest, letting yourself be honest about what hurts. Because sometimes the most powerful movement you can make is the movement that you make on the inside. Let me repeat that again. One of the strongest movements you can make is the movement that you make on the inside. I often say the biggest growth comes in the places that no one else can, that no one sees but the Lord in you or your high power. It's not what the outward world can see. It's the movement. It's that small shift inside of you. The one that says, not today. The one that says, I'm holding space for the fact that I'm tired. I don't have to show up and be expected to perform every single time my name is called. Sometimes it's cool to sit alone and be in my thoughts. That's okay. That's movement. People wrongly assume movement with actually a physical move, but movement sometimes is not loud. It's that moment where you have that quiet shift in your spirit. And so your body's saying, I can't sprint today. That doesn't mean you're not moving. It means you're just moving differently. And different is allowed. Not everybody, like we talked about last week, go at your own pace. Not everybody has the same pace. You're allowed to have movement internally and in the smallest ways possible. It doesn't have to always show up to everybody else. So I want to talk about compassion for a moment, but I want to talk about it in a different way. It's more of a coaching framework. I want to talk about compassion, not as a feeling, but as a strategy. Because compassion is not letting yourself off the hook. Compassion is letting you off the cross. And what I mean by that is that you are not, when you have compassion, you're not letting yourself off the hook. What you're doing is you're removing that need to carry a cross that isn't yours. If you're tired, you're fatigued, you don't have to carry that. Compassion says, I can still grow, I can still heal, I can still move, but I don't have to punish myself to do it. When you're fatigued, compassion becomes the bridge from where you are and where you're trying to go. Let me repeat that. Compassion as a strategy is the bridge for where you are and where you're trying to go. So when we think about compassion, it sounds like this. I'm doing the best I can with what I have today. I can take one small step. Here's what my favorite in coaching. I don't have to match yesterday's energy. Rest is not quitting. I can move at the speed of grace. And so, again, compassion as a strategy says I'm moving forward, but I'm also giving myself grace. I'm doing the best. Sometimes the best movement you can give to yourself through Movement May is to say, I am doing the best I can. I am doing the best I can. I have shown up today. I got out of bed. I brushed my teeth, and I'm here. And I'm here by that grace, and I'm moving through that grace. That also means I'm not going to force myself. It also means I'm not going to pretend to be fully, I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to hide how I feel. I'm not going to walk around weepy-eyed all the time, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to honor how I feel. And the compassion as a strategy allows you to say, I'm doing the best I can with what I have today. I can't match yesterday's energy. Yesterday's gone. Today's where I'm at. And I'm going to move through this day with grace. Because when you practice compassion with yourself, you create space for clarity, for breath, for alignment. And that's where the real movement again begins. So when we allow ourselves that space for compassion as a strategy, we're allowing ourselves to have compassion with ourselves. We create space, we create clarity, and it means that we're creating real alignment that can keep us moving forward. So now I want to talk about how to break this down from the theoretical to the practical. So there's 3 types of movement you can choose from when you're tired. Number 1 is a micro movement. This is the smallest step possible. Drinking some water, sending one email, opening the blinds, stretching for 30 seconds. Micro movements say, I'm still in the game. And so when we're really fatigued, and particularly, I'm going to share this story. I had a friend who was going through significant grief. She had lost a child. This has been 20, 30 years ago. And she was like, I can't get out of bed. And I said, and we did this. We talked about micro movements. It's like, okay, today, get up, brush your teeth, get back in bed. Tomorrow, get up, brush your teeth, wipe your face, get back in the bed. Next day, get up, brush your teeth, wipe your face, change the sheets. But what we did was we created micro movements. And eventually, with time, she was able to leave the room because she was paralyzed with her grief, of course. And so a lot of times, the micro movements are the smallest things. And what it does is it says, I'm still in the game. It means that no matter how tired, how fatigued I am, even if it just means I'm tired, I can't even get up to go downstairs. I'm like that. My bedroom's upstairs. Sometimes I don't even want to get up and go downstairs. Getting up, walking around my room, brushing my teeth, washing my face, maybe getting back in bed, but I'm still in the game. So that's a micro movement. Number 2, a maintenance movement. This is holding steady, not pushing forward, but not falling back. It's just maintaining what you've already built. This is powerful because it stops you from spiraling. So when we do a maintenance movement, you're doing the things that you've always done. You're not doing anything extra. You're just continuing to stay with the process that you've done. So you're moving forward. You're not pushing forward, but you're not also falling back. So if you are like me, when my mother, when I was the caretaker for my mom and it was a lot on me, I still went to the gym. Now, was I lifting as heavy as I used to? No. Was I, but I was very grateful for Josh because he was very compassionate with me through that time. But it was just maintenance. I was just getting up, going to the gym. I was showing up. But when I was fatigued, I was tired, I was emotionally whipped. I was, my mama was dying, and I couldn't have made it without my aunt Nita. But I mean, it just was a lot. But that maintenance movement, going to the gym 3 days a week, even when I wasn't lifting as heavy, but I was maintaining. So sometimes number 2, maintenance movement. And number 3 is meaningful movement. This is when you have the energy to take the bigger step, a decision, a boundary, a shift, a conversation, a plan. So when you have, excuse me, again, I am healing a little better. But you know how it is when you have those allergies and you're recovering, you get that tickle in the back of your throat. And so again, meaningful movement is when you have the energy to take a bigger step. And so that's when you make that decision, a boundary, a shift, a conversation, a plan. So in that moment, you're like, you know what, I have the energy today. I'm going to work on my website, or I'm going to call some people. I'm going to follow up with some clients. I'm going to reach out to a friend. I'm going to make a shift. I'm going to make a plan. I'm going to go grocery shopping. This is a movement that's going to propel you forward. Okay? Because all 3 of those forms of movement count. All 3 matter, and all 3 are valid. And depending on the day, depending on the hour, you get to choose which one you have the capacity for. Because again, this is about moving with intention. This is about moving forward, but in your pace with your grace. So whether it's a small movement, whether it's a micro movement, a maintenance movement, or anything like that, you have the ability to choose. That's the best part about it. You get to choose. So what do we do when life feels heavy? Here's the question I want you to ask yourself. What is the kindest step I can take? Not the biggest, not the most impactful, the kindest. When you are fatigued, when you are tired, what is the kindest step I can take for myself? Not, like I said, not the biggest, not the most impressive, not one that proves anything to anybody. It is me. Even if it's just that micro movement. What feels like the most kindest step for me today? Because kindness creates the movement. Kindness creates clarity. Kindness creates safety inside your own body. Kindness, when you move with that level of kindness, it tells yourself, I can trust me. I'm listening to me. I'm honoring where I am today. And so when you feel safe, when you can trust yourself, when you trust that your movements, whether they be micro or major or maintenance, I trust that I'm doing what's best for me today. I'm listening to what I do and what I need, and I'm making the kindest step forward for myself. So today I want you to choose one thing, just one. One thing to release, one thing to rest, one thing to receive, or one thing to move toward. Because just one, because that's just enough. And it's 7:23, and as we get ready to close today, I want you to take this deep breath in with me. And now out. Because you are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to be human. You are allowed to move gently. You are allowed to rest without guilt. You are allowed to choose compassion over pressure. And you're allowed to keep going, baby. Not because you're forcing yourself, but because you're supporting yourself. Because Movement May is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about honesty. It's about alignment. It's about choosing yourself in those small yet steady ways. Jump in the chat and let me know what you think about moving through compassion, using compassion as a strategy. Oh, thank you, Custom Auto Trim, for your support and joining me today. Thank you so much. It's greatly appreciated. Again, movement at your own pace with intention, whether that's a micro movement, or that's a major movement, or it's a maintenance movement. They all 3 matter. And so today, just choose one. Just choose one thing to release, one thing, just one, not all four. Choose one thing to release, one thing to rest, one thing to receive, or one thing to move toward. Just one. I want to give first of all, let me do my reading for today. And it comes from one of my favorite authors, Bloom and Bear. If you don't have this book, it's really a good book. You can tell I use it quite a bit. And she's one of the inspirations to help me write my own books that are available on Amazon. I'll put the link in there as well. But this is a good book for the journey. And so if you don't have it, I definitely encourage you to take it. And today is Dig Deep. Until you're happy with yourself, everyone will always look better. Until you love yourself truly, you will always give more love and energy to people that don't deserve it. Sometimes you have to ignore those thoughts in your mind because they are just that, thoughts. You are much more than you give yourself credit for. Put your energy into yourself, and you'll see that what you're looking for in the world is already inside of you. Dig deep, y'all. Bloom and Bear. And today's love notes, I'm thinking of the family of Tanya Bosley. We met at Rafferty's years ago. We had the entire restaurant laughing. We were acting the clowns in Rafferty's that day. And we became friends on Facebook, and we stayed in touch as much as we could. I saw that she had passed, and it made me sad. She was a good human being with a beautiful heart. So please keep her son and her family in your thoughts and prayers. I'm also asking for prayers for another gym friend of mine. Anybody who knows me knows I love my gym friends. His name is Corey. I call him Alabama. He had an incident at the gym, and he's currently in the hospital, and things are not looking good. But I do believe, I believe in the power of prayer. I believe it. So please lift him up and his entire family in prayer. In fact, just ride down the street and stay in your doorway and just pray for everybody that passes you. If you're in a drive-thru, pray for the car behind you and the car in front of you. If you're stopped at a red light, pray for the people on both sides of you. Just pray for the people that live next door to you. What happens is when we begin to see people through the eyes of compassion, we realize that everybody, and I do mean everybody, got to struggle. Everybody. And so today, stick out your hand and pray for somebody else. Okay? Because Lord knows. So pray for your clients you serve. Pray for everybody, any and everybody, because Lord knows we need it today. So I want to thank you, Miss Gay. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here with me this morning. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for choosing movement, whatever that looks like today. I love y'all. Have a gentle and compassionate Friday. See you next week.